Hello everyone, it's Margaret here with 60andMe. I'd like to talk to you today about how older women can make friends in this technology age. Things have changed. The way that people interact with each other has changed, and the way that we have an opportunity to make new friends has changed. And I want to talk to you about some ideas. I think there are some really wonderful technology-based online opportunities that can complement the ways that we make our friends in the real world in old school ways. But Fran Meniger wrote this article that I wanted to share with you because it's a really good in-depth look at all the different ways that we can communicate with each other. I mean, the context has changed, right? As we've gotten older, we don't have the same relationships because we don't have the same activities. Like we don't have perhaps children any longer at home, or we don't have any work colleagues that we can mix with. It's changed. It's just a different world when we get to be in our 60s and 70s and older. And we need to find new ways to fill that void, because loneliness is one of the very big challenges of our demographic. And even though we enjoy living alone and we don't, we say we don't need the company of other people, something in our hearts wants us to be social. There's something that requires us to make girlfriends, women that can be by our side during these challenging years as we get a little older. And Fran's got some really good ideas. Now, of course, there's the old school ways that we can use. We've got the community groups, the clubs, the churches, the different groups that meet just every week in different parts of the city. Clubs or organizations, the Rotary clubs and so on, that maybe were affiliated with your career. Lots and lots of things you can do the old school way. Get out there and meet every Wednesday for a coffee meeting, and those are great ways. There's also book clubs, gardening clubs, so special interest groups that get together in person, walking groups that, go on hikes. So there's plenty of things that go on in the real world that you can join and not have to, depend on technology. But I'm going to talk about technology specifically because I think it's got the greatest opportunity. Now, of course, there are things like attending school, social events, community gatherings, summer fairs, seasonal fairs. There's all things all year round going on. Outdoor concerts. There's plenty of activities in the real world that you can do. You can volunteer. You can take a class. Join a travel group. These are things that you can enjoy people in reality, in face to face. And by the way, I'll mention to you our Patreon group here at 60andMe, because we have a Patreon supporters group that started off as just a friendship group and a during lockdown group. And then it's now turned into a really amazing group where people are getting together in person. But that's another sort of transition into the technology world, where people are now meeting each other online and then getting together. So virtual friends. Let's talk about virtual friends that we can gather. Now I'm going to have a little glass of tea here because my throat is tickling me. So it's my beautiful cup I just bought. Well, I didn't just buy it. It's been around for a while, but I love it. I've got my English breakfast tea, which is, if you're British, all is well with the world when you have a cup of tea. Just how it is. Anyway, online, lots of virtual ways that you can make friends. Now, first of all, I'll talk about like Facebook, Instagram, and those types of community sites. Now, when 60andMe first got started, we used Facebook quite a bit to actually reach out to people, and it worked as such a positive way for us. I think at the beginning, got a lot of our women joining 60andMe from Facebook. The reason is, first of all, the demographic of Facebook is over 50. I think there's about 56% now that are over the age of 50. So compared to other online sites like Instagram, TikTok, and website even, because that's harder to reach, and YouTube, Facebook is a good group for older people. And if you go onto Facebook now, you'll find a group for just about anything. If you've got an interest in, knitting or sewing or quilting or fine dining or rock painting or whatever, you name it, that's the place to go, because there's a group there, and you can meet the group online, you can chat, and you can make virtual friends. Now, as I mentioned with the 60andMe group, you can turn that into get-togethers, and many do. I know, for example, there's a woman that does, I think it's like a room sharing place, and she puts a Cohabitas, and they actually meet people online to talk about accommodation that they've got available for someone that can stay, like a room in a house, kind of a co-sharing, co-living space. And then they get together for walks. If you come with us to meet at this park, meet at this place, and we're going to chat about, like where people are living, what they're looking for. So they combine the online experience of being a friend with going out into the real world and doing a hike together, doing a walk together. So virtual friends are really more than sometimes, an online thing. You can actually turn them into a real friend. But then there's nothing wrong with a friend that, exists only on a channel. Now, I know a lot of people on Instagram. Now, 60andMe I am on Instagram. I do actually post, once a day, and it's 60andMe underscore, just so you know, there's the underscore because somebody else took the name. So, so 60andMe underscore. I post every day, and it's really fun because a lot of people you get to know day to day what they're doing, what they're talking about, what's important to them. And then you start noticing the same people making comments and giving advice or suggestions or feedback or positive energy. And so Instagram can be a really great place to meet friends, just to have similar passions and similar likes. But then there's also Pinterest, which is like for homemakers and people, well, not just homemakers, but people that like to make things and do things. So they've got, boards where they put like their favorite, meals or clothing or makeup, or just this, you have these boards that you open and pin things to them. So it's like Pinterest. You actually, share your passions in a kind of pin board, and then you can put links in there and you can lead people to websites and so on. It's got a lot more sophisticated than it used to be, but it's a really good example. And also there's 60andMe. I mean, we have a community here of women on our website that, leave comments and talk to each other. And you can see over the months, the same people appearing, and, it becomes a friendship. It's not like someone that you meet every day and is your best friend ever, your bestie, but it's someone that is like you. They like what you're doing. They like what you're thinking. They like your ideas. And I think that's really the thing about online virtual friendships, is that you can make friends that way, but it's a different definition of friend. You may never meet that person. I have so many friends on 60andMe because of our Patreon group. We actually meet on Patreon every week, twice a week, and it's a live show. And it's a really cool, smaller group. Like, the 60andMe group is so big. This is a smaller, like 800 people, but only 50 or so show up to these meetings. And they're just chats. But I've talked to people on the phone. I've had FaceTimes with people. We're planning a trip in September 2023. And we actually have a small group that they're genuinely my friends. I care about them in the same way that I care about someone I've known in the real world. Quotes, this is the real world. It is a real world. That's the kind of transition I think we have to make in our minds, is that online friendships are the real world. That is our world now, and we have to live with it and enjoy it. But anyway, point being, I have some very good friends from our 60andMe community who I have just worked with and had developed a conversation with over the years. It's really, really cool. Another thing to mention though is clubs. I mean, book clubs online, not just on Facebook, but on YouTube and other channels, are so helpful. There's a woman, I follow her on YouTube. She talks about writing. And her videos are all about different styles of writing, different historical styles of writing, different, trends. And she's not my friend. I don't think she wouldn't know my name, to save her life, but she's my virtual friend because she shares something that's really, really wonderful. Book clubs are a little bit different because people do tend to have a very like a specific club, like a group of people, and they're you have a book that they read and then they discuss. That one I mentioned about the online YouTube channel with writing is more like anyone can show up, so it's not really a community in that way. But the other woman is a virtual friend in that she shares with me something that I'm interested in. There's other than like book clubs and other cooking clubs, that kind of thing, house gardening. There's actually the big ones, like AARP, which I don't know if anybody is interested in AARP, but they have a very big online community, retirement planning, wellness. Senior Chatters, I've never heard of them. I just took a bunch of details here of the ones that, were out there in the world. Elder Treks is travel adventure, exploring the world. There's Silver Surfers, which is tech and the internet and navigating in the digital world. The Senior List, I don't know that one. It's about health. These are websites. Health, wellness, and lifestyle topics. Senior Forums. This is another one. Retirement planning, health, and hobbies. Grandsnet, I think it's still around. Grandsnet is about grandparenting, but not just grandparenting. It's about parenting and travel with kids, for older women who are grandmothers or just spending time with their younger family. And then My Elder is for health, finance, and lifestyle. So there's a few examples. I think all I say just to conclude is that, making friends in the virtual world is different. It's going to be different than making friends in the real world. You're working in a different environment, a different texture. And it's going to be even more so when we start to get into artificial intelligence and the metaverse and where we can meet people online, almost in a virtual meetup. I mean, they almost see each other, or we can, you're touching each other, but in a virtual way. It's very, very interesting where the future is going with communications and connection. So I think hopefully it's helpful for how to make virtual friends in this tech age, and how to, remind you that there's still other ways in the real world. But if you've got any online websites or YouTube channels or your own that you'd like to share, this is a good opportunity. Let's do it. Just tell me what how to make friends in a virtual world, and we can share with each other, maybe get some new friendships going. You never know. Anyway, I hope it's been helpful, everybody. I wish you well. Hope that everybody's doing great. Go out and make a friend today, online or in the real world, and we'll talk to you again soon. Lots of love.